What is up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Today we are going to be taking a look at Captain America. This is a very, very strong off-tank that I don't see played a whole lot, and I think it's partially because a lot of people don't understand even some of the basics of his kit. So today we are going to go over all of that and make sure that you know exactly what you're looking for, exactly what to do with this character, and understand all of his basic abilities. So let's get right into it. To start off, his left click is just this pretty quick combo. You're just attacking the enemy. Very, very simple. Nothing too crazy. The thing about his left click that is a little bit more unique, though, is that you see this little bar in the center of my screen. If I auto attack once, there's 1 bar. If I auto attack twice, there's 2 bars. And then it turns into this 4 thing. When those 4 bars are active and for that timer duration, whichever comes first, the auto attacks, the next 4 auto attacks that you do will actually be ranged. And as you can see, they do have a pretty big range on them. So I can go way over here, and I can still auto attack a target from there. So this character is kind of pseudo ranged in that regard, just as long as you auto attack twice first. So again, getting that 4 bars and then range. So very, very cool. Very good left click basic ability. His right click is his block, so you hold up your shield. It has 400 HP. You can see that the health bar is also shown over on the right, so when this breaks, that is where you will look to see how much this shield has recharged. Make sure that you're not using it on like 50 or something like that when the shield only has 50 health. It's already broken once. You put it back up, it only has 50. It's just going to break again. Make sure you let it recharge a little bit so that you have as much shield as you need to get into the fight. The other thing about his block is that it actually reflects projectiles. So as you can see, some of these projectiles will fly back and hit the bot. Some of them will just go off into nowhere land, and that's not super helpful. But this ability can actually block some pretty important things. Like, for example, Iron Man ult can be blocked by this. So if Iron Man is up there, my team is all behind me. Maybe they're even on low ground. Iron Man's up here. I can get in his face, block this, and he ults me. I can reflect it right back at him. So kind of cool, pretty niche. You're not going to get a whole lot of opportunities to do that, but just be on the lookout for things like that. I believe you can reflect Hela ultimate too. If they get a direct hit onto this shield, you can flash that back at them. The other important thing too is that this shield should not really be used to block just any old projectile. You should have a purpose when you're holding this up, just to get into the fight. You should not be trying to use it just to peel for your team like Doctor Strange would, because this shield only has 400 max HP, whereas Doctor Strange's has 800. So be sure that you are being a little bit more stingy with the uses of your right click and going from there. So you can also sprint with this. So if you hold it up, you can sprint. You can still, do all this other sort of stuff. Sprint, hold up your shield. I see a lot of people walk into fights holding up their shield and waddling. You don't need to do that. You can zoom in there. You can zoom in there. More power to you. So yeah, and that brings us to his left shift, which is just sprint. So it's just a sprint. You hold it down, you go a little bit faster. As you can see, default jump. If you sprint and jump, you get a lot more verticality, and you also get access to diving strike. So your diving strike is your left click when you're in the air at any point. So I can jump off high ground and use it. I can just jump and use it. It's just a quick knockup, a little bit of damage. It's just good disruption. This character really excels at just disrupting the enemy team. So you're not going to be like solo killing any backliners unless they're really just getting no peel or anything like that. But your primary goal is just to get in people's face, be annoying, and just throw shields at them. That's kind of your goal. To tank for your team, run interference, that sort of thing. So that is his left shift and his left click. As you can see, it has pretty good range, so you can dive pretty far and get into the fight pretty easily that way. The next ability that we're going to go over is his E. So his E is just this shield. You throw it at a target, it bounces between targets. Pretty simple. A lot of things that people, or something that people don't really know about this, is that you can throw it at the ground, and it will also hit both targets. So that's kind of cool. You can also throw it at walls and hit targets off of the walls. So as you can see, we're trying to hit this spot and hit this one. So bam, bam, bam. And we get 3 hits there. So you can bounce the shield around a good amount. Make sure you don't, it doesn't have any damage drop off or anything like that. So it does pretty much the same damage. So make sure that you are just getting hits with that, just keeping consistent damage and going from there. The last ability that he has is his F. So his F is just this charge. So you just smack somebody. Has a pretty big range too. So kind of hard to miss. But yeah, I've been using this more as an escape tool because this character is a little bit squishy and he can get shredded very, very quickly. So you have a lot of ways to get in, especially with like Diving Strike. You can just sprint with your shield up and get in. You can do all that. So getting in is not usually an issue. Getting out is the issue if you're getting fried. So if you get in trouble, you can dash out, get a little bit of distance, hold your shield up, and back up towards your team so that they can help you pop you off, and then we can go from there. Something also to note about his F is that it is not directional, so you can't actually dash down with it. It'll maintain height, it'll keep you in a straight line, and there's nothing else you can do about that. So you can't dash up, you can't dash to high ground, it will keep you on the floor at all times. The last ability that we're going to go over is his Q, so his ultimate. His ult just gives shield to allies, so if I were to pop my ult and just run over this ally, you can see that I'm leaving this like America trail behind me, and it gives a shield to the allies that follow me. It also gives them maximum health, I believe, so they can get a lot tankier for the duration of my ultimate, and then the shield starts to fall off at a pretty significant rate. The other thing that this ultimate does is get me up to 900 health. So it gives me another 250 HP, which makes me significantly more tanky, turns me into much more of a main tank than I otherwise would be, because I don't have any self-healing, I don't have any self-sustain except for this block. So keep that in mind when you're ulted. You are definitely trying to get in, make sure that your team is running behind you, and go from there. Something else I don't really see people do with his ultimate is use it effectively. So you can use all of your other abilities when you're ulted. So if you ult, you still have access to your right click, you can still block, you can still sprint, you can still left click, you can still E, you can still F, you can still use everything in your kit. The thing that I also don't see people do very often is if you ult and then you're blocking and you're running into a target or something like that, or you're shifting or you're sprinting into a target, your sprint actually will not do the knock up or anything like that unless you have your shield up. So if you pop your ult and you hold up block and you sprint, you will start knocking enemies around. I don't know why there was so much delay there, but yeah, you hold sprint and you hold up block and you can knock enemies around a little bit that way. Like I said earlier, this character excels at disruption. So when you are shielding your team, you give everyone a shield, make sure they're behind you. You can get in there, start knocking around the enemy team. You can sprint, you can dive and strike, knock up, knock up, knock up. You're just so annoying, and you get in people's faces, and it's very, very hard for them to function, to hit your team, and that is how you are getting a lot of your value out of Captain America. You are making your team harder to hit. You're just getting in the enemy's face, giving them something else to think about, especially when there's another main tank that is helping out your team, making sure that they stay safe while all this is going on. So that's Captain America. Pretty basic kit, but definitely play him more as an off tank and a disruption tank as opposed to a main tank like Doctor Strange or something like that. This character is a lot of fun, so definitely try him out, especially if you have another friend that will play tank alongside you. And just get in there. Just try this character out, see how you like him. He's not for everybody. He's definitely not my favorite character, but I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware how his abilities work. So if there's anything you guys want to see from the channel, if there's anything else that I can do, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.